Hey guys, this is Gamer. We are playing Touhou 7 Perfect Cherry Blossom because I've still got it open after recording the other video, obviously the one that I said, hey, I'm not going to be doing anything for a while, and look at me doing stuff here. However, this is only the fourth go that I've had it, but it's going to be the last one at the moment because I'm not really playing particularly great at some attacks, and I'm just being stupid. But that's not the point. This is still my favourite Touhou game to physically play, you know. It's just, to me, it's the most fun. It's not my favourite in the series as a whole, but it's my favourite when I just want to say, hey, let's play Touhou, and this is the one I tend to pick. Because, I don't know, I'm actually good at this one, perhaps, so... I'd like to say I'm actually good at this one, but really, I do stuff like that, so... Well... That's just not quite moving underneath the fairy, though, or expecting what you get in the later games, actually. What you end up getting in the later games is you get a lot more sort of, not immunity, but if you're firing, then you can tend to ram into things fairly well. You know, ram into things that don't have any sort of HP to them, like these fairies, and generally get away with it. But in the earlier games, it's a bit sketchier as to whether or not you're actually going to get away with physically ramming something. Now, Marissa is really good at collecting stuff overall, as you would expect from a kleptomaniac, and she's very fast and she can go all around the screen collecting all of the items, and she's great. However, one thing she does not have is very good, power in the slightest until she hits 64. So even at 40 power here, it's pretty abysmal, I've got to say. Just waiting very slightly so I could get more cherry there, because I want to make sure that I get a border after this attack. Frost Columns is not really any harder than it was before, or at least if it is, then I'm desensitized to it at this point because it's so easy anyway. The only thing that's annoying about this one is actually trying to hit Cherno with Marissa A because the range is so minimal. Oh well. It's still not hard. Neither is this bit, to be completely honest, though you do want to make sure you get a border for this, because otherwise you're not going to be able to collect most of the items, and then you will be a sad panda, and the very last thing you want to be is a sad panda. You can be a sad polar bear if you want, because it's winter, but being a sad panda is not a good idea. So anyway, Letty's not really that hard. She has one tricky attack on Lunatic, and that, this one, that's not that one to be honest, but that can surprise you if you're not careful. I mean, that bullet set there spawned awfully close to me, and that's not nice. But whatever, really nothing to this particular spell card at all. It's streaming like Nightbird was, but it's got a couple of extra bullets to it as well, just to catch you out if you're only paying attention to the streaming part. And then we get what looks like random spam, but really it's too sparse to be any general threat, so that's that. However, it did introduce the fact of Letty is the originator of curvy lasers. And the curvy lasers here, I think, follow a static pattern. I think they do exactly the same things all the time. It's the arrows that they spawn are not quite the same every time, but usually they are, so yeah. Obviously, although I haven't said it yet, I am skipping all the text simply because we've already seen the text in Reimu's scenario, and if you want to see the text from Marissa, then Robin did it in his LP. And this is an extension of the LP anyway, so this is just replaying the entire game because I want to be able to do it on Lunatic. That was almost dangerous, but it wasn't quite, because I was actually sort of thinking and reacting there. That's an oddity in its own right, isn't it? Actually reacting in a Touhou game? My god. Very slightly low on the point item stuff there. Usually I would have 52 or so by this stage, but it's not a huge deal, because I get the extra life anyway, and I know I'm not going to hit the 1200 point item mark anyway, because for that you've got to be a true klepto, and I'm not klepto at all points of the game, so it doesn't happen, basically. Anyway, Chen over here, her non-spell is not particularly difficult, but watch the arrows, watch the needles here because they can catch you. I mean, they didn't there because I anticipated that, but they can if you're not careful. And then this attack would probably kill me just because I'm not used to it if I was playing against her with any other character. But because I'm playing with her, with the uber powerful Marissa A over here, I can kill the card before it gets to the threatening phase, which is that one right there. So I'm grateful that I played with a good shock type, I guess. Well, no, it's not like she's the only good shot type, obviously, but she's definitely a cut above for certain attacks like that one. This is all streaming. As I said, as I think I said at least, this stage is entirely streaming. There are fairies which are coming down from the top of the screen that you want to make sure that you are on the correct side to defeat before they do too much, because they will shoot aim stuff at you as well, and the collective aimness of everything is a little bit tricky to handle if you're not quick. Thankfully Marissa is quick to a fault sometimes, and she's awesome at that. Now this bit, I know you can micro this, but I've never really learned how to micro it because I just don't quite get it. Like, I've never bothered learning it because I just do that and it works. So now we get to Chen. First attack is not too bad, although Chen as a whole is a sort of not discredited. Right there, you can see. She's not a mid stage 2 boss that you can just discredit entirely, but she's not generally too hard to beat. This attack, however, I've not been doing too great at recently for some reason. I don't quite know why, but yeah, it's not too hard. I mean, okay, there's a bit of a narrow gap there that you've got to get through, but really it's not bad. And then for the second non-spell, streaming for the first half, random spam for the second. Try and make sure you get back into the center for the spam bit, so that you can attack Chen when she comes down. And then we get to the second spell card, which is actually really easy. I used to find this one massively difficult, and I couldn't ever do it. And the reasoning for that is because I didn't know how to do the second phase. This phase right here, you go into the corner and you dodge the blue set from the corner, and it's really, really easy. There's no reason to fail that anymore, for me. And then this last attack catches me way more than it should. Try to ignore the 0 out of 6 thing there, though I have captured this before, but on a different save file, so there we go. And actually, Perfect Cherry Blossom does not save your records as well as the later games in the series, because it actually doesn't save them unless you complete the game. So like, I've captured it here, but if I don't complete this run, then it won't count as a capture. That's why my records are so low overall, because even though I play this game a lot, I don't end up saving a lot of the clears, so yeah. Now, stage 3 gives me a lot of trouble. There is one point where I basically auto-bomb it, there's one point where I bomb if I'm unlucky, or I usually die if I'm unlucky at it, and then we get Alice. So Alice's non-spell is significantly more difficult here, but it's not really too hard. It's learnable because it's entirely static, and that's exactly what I've done indirectly. You know, I don't often make a habit of saying, hey, I'm going to learn this exact bit. I'm moving too slow. I think I've recovered it though, because now I can just stream it across again, yes. So that actually worked. Fantastic. Second non-spell is also static, actually, believe it or not. That's a movement which I always make. And basically it dies before it gets too threatening for me, because this would be where it's sort of a little bit dangerous, but Marissa A is good enough that it doesn't matter. Now, this attack, the only reason I've ever failed this attack is because it sometimes cheap shots me with an instant spawning laser hitbox, even when the laser isn't extended. And that's a glitch, and that's not something which you can predict at all. She drops an extra life, so make absolute sure that you get that, because yeah. And it's somewhere in here that I always have to bomb, because I know this is sort of aimed, but I have absolutely no idea how you do it, and I just can't. So I don't even bother anymore. I mean, I get more items if I don't do that anyway, so, you know, if I just bomb it, then I'll get more items out. And as you can see, I've already hit the 200 life item thing, so yeah. Now, as for Alice herself, you can actually go straight through the center of this attack right here, and it's usually perfectly fine, but I'm a little bit afraid of doing that, but I probably should have, because it would have made it easier for me, so whatever. Yeah, first non-spell sometimes catches me, that's quite bad. First spell card, however, is easily her hardest attack of the fight. It is static, but you can see how many times it's split up now. It's really, really dense, and whilst I say it's static, it's not actually static in the pattern type that will come out every time. It's static in the sense that every wave is fixed, it just, I should have captured that, so painfully close. But it's static in the sense that the wave types are fixed. It's just whatever wave that she will fire at the time is not static at all. If that makes any sense whatsoever, please let me know, because I don't think I'm making much sense with that, but whatever. This one's really quite straightforward, just stay fairly high up the screen. Like I said, I hated this attack when I played it on hard, and that's because I was terrible at the game and I don't know how to play it, but now that I do, it's really easy. So yeah. Do not ask me why I do this specific pattern for dodging these, even though it looks like I should do the same pattern for both things. I just do it that way because that's sort of how I learned it. It's ingrained into my head at this point, and that's all I ever do for it. So yeah, it's quite easy attack though. And then Spring Kyoto should not be too hard if you're good at minor movement, which admittedly Marissa is not, but still good enough. It's static. Again, a lot of Alice is static actually, and that's quite a nice thing. But yeah, Marissa A is awesome and she kills it before it does anything. Then Hanged Hooray Dolls, I am just absolutely terrible at this. And I've never quite worked out why I'm terrible at this. It actively walls you a lot more than it did on hard, so maybe that's partly to blame. But it's read and dodge of some description. I expected to die there. I didn't honestly see any way through that. Hopefully I can not bomb this again though. That would be nice if I just clear it now. There we go. So that was my first death, and that's a perfectly acceptable place to have a first death actually, because that card is hard, man. So yeah, that is the first 3 stages done. Not too bad. Although the fact now that I'm going into stage 4 without full power is a bit depressing, because this stage you really want to have full power for the start of this. Hopefully I can sort of, not salvage it, but I can recover from that. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so stage 4 starts obviously with this whole streaming thing. You can stream it in several different ways. This is the way I've decided to do it today, and I'm not going to get those because I want Cherry for a very specific spot later, and that would sort of kill my Cherry if I got it there. So for this here, start at a side known as the left hand side and stream it all across. I want the items, but I don't want the Cherry. This is a really terrible situation to be in, because I want to be collecting these and I can't, because yeah, whatever, just get them there. So now we get to the whole auto collection stuff. Reimu B is too slow to do this. Marissa A is just about okay at doing this usually. I mean, really the problem is in getting just enough power on these guys in order to kill them quick enough, and I think I've bombed, yeah. I usually do get it, and it's usually not too hard, but what you want to have is you want to have a border about midway through that so you can just focus on killing the fairies, and it does make it much, much easier. This bit, as you can see, it's just streaming, it's really not too hard at all, and then there's delayed streaming, so just watch out for that, I guess. It's not too bad in the slightest. And then, because I still haven't really learned how you do this yet, I don't fire during this one. You can get away with not firing during the entire thing, and every wave will just do a variation of this to you. Just aimed fire that you can easily dodge for some reason. But I don't like to do that, because I like to get some of the items out of it. Because I'm almost at the 450 point item life as it stands, so that's really good. Lily's a monster on Lunatic actually, compared to what she was on hard. On hard she was really not much of anything, but on Lunatic, oh god. I mean, this, oh, why did I move so far across? I didn't tell you to move so far across. Oh, that's depressing. It is static, this whole circle spam thing. Pretty sure it's static, but wow, that really was a terrible Lily fight actually. Really, really poor. I just decided I would play super risky there, because I could. Now here, the idea is that you don't want to move very much during the firing of the purple circles, and then you don't want to... What actually hit them there? Did I really have a shot that well delayed? Jesus. Yeah, the idea is that you don't want to fire during the blue and purple wave shot ones, and there's a static pattern as to when they will fire. So you can learn it, and it's doable. But for some reason I had a trailing shot there, which I wasn't aware of. I panicked, I thought I was going to get hit, that's all the bombs gone in this life, which is pretty fantastic, whatever. This is streaming in its entirety, this entire stage is pretty much streaming. A lot of Touhou is streaming, you will find that as you go along, a massive amount of Touhou stuff is actually just streaming. Which sometimes does annoy people actually, because they go, well, you know, it shouldn't be so hard if it's all just aimed at you, and you're perfectly right in that assumption, but it is, because it's Touhou, you know? It finds ways, oh, fuck off, it finds ways to do that to you, basically. The Death Fairy over here, you want to do something like that, basically. And then just go down the middle. If you're using Yomu A, then you're never going to be able to kill the fairy, so have fun. But with everybody else, it's fine. Wow, I died twice during that stage. That's absolutely shocking, considering my channel update stated this thing was great. Hopefully the Prismrivers, however, shouldn't go too bad, because outside of the first attack from Lyrica here, it's a pretty easy fight when you choose Lyrica as your opponent. But, yeah, this non-spell's an absolute terror for me, and, well, this is how you do it. I just, can't do that very often, apparently. But yeah, it's actually not too bad when the rank is that low. Because my rank was definitely lowered a lot by that death right near the end there. So, yeah. Rank in this game is not nearly as significant as it is in the previous game, however it does still exist, and you'd be foolish to say that it doesn't, because that attack at max rank is pretty much impossible. I haven't seen it firsthand, I don't think I've seen it firsthand, but I know for a fact that it's one of the few attacks which is massively sort of, not induced, it's massively influenced by rank. Noisy Totsugai's thing. This is one of the coolest streaming spells of this series actually, because it is all streaming and there's the environment that you take into account and it looks really cool. I don't know, it's just neat. Lyrica's non-spells, except that first one, are basically all streaming anyway. It's just you've got to time your streaming so that you don't get yourself old. So yeah, do remember that the blue arrows are fired at different intervals to the red arrows, and the red arrows are the ones which are streaming. So once you learn how to do it, it doesn't matter what difficulty it is, it's still easy. Kind of the same when going from Hard and Lunatic on this one. The difference between Hard and Lunatic here is that the waves of red and blue arrows are significantly longer than they were before. But basically all that means is that you will want to follow the absolute inside of the wave, and it's okay. Although if she moves too low down the screen, it can get a little bit dangerous. That was kind of close. Whatever, Steigen Riverside, it's a cool, awesome refraction card, and I do still love it for that, but it's not the hardest card in the world. I made a pretty tight dodge there, and then I wasn't paying any attention, so, you know, I died with full bombs in stock, freaking hell. But, yeah, it's not too hard a card. Wondrous Concerto Grosso, on the other hand, is definitely tricky, and it's not something that you will always clear, so do be ready to bomb this one, especially because the yellow needles can be particularly difficult to see when you're using a shot type like Marissa. But if you do bomb it, it's worth triple damage on the bomb, because basically all three Prismrivers have a hitbox, and they only have one health bar, so yeah. Stage 5, I have 5 lives still, and I'm gonna get 3 more during the game, so I've got more than enough lives for this. Providing I don't start playing really, really dumb, which is a high possibility, but Stage 5 should not be an issue overall. There is maybe one bomb to the mid-boss, which I don't expect, but, you know, sometimes happens. And that's really... that and one bomb at the end of the stage is basically it. A lot of this stage is streaming in small areas, and this is one of the few bits which I am not Klepto at, because I have no idea how you would collect the items and survive during that, so I don't even bother trying. I mean, there's a fair few items involved in it, so if you can do it, then great, but I don't know how you would, so... unless you get a border. If you've got a border during that, then you'd be golden, but I never get a border during that, because I always have a border during the end of Concerto Grosso. And then here, this is also streaming, so just pick a side and stream into the corner from there. It's really wide for Lunatic actually, the gaps there are ridiculous. Then this, ideally, you would not want to have the fairies do that to you, but it's still easy enough. For this, for Yomu here, you want to misdirect the non-spells. The first wave really is what you want to misdirect, because if you don't misdirect the first wave, then it gets rather hard to dodge. But one single wave itself is not bad. It's the reason you want to misdirect the first wave is because you don't want to have them overlapping. But really, it's not too hard once you get past that first wave, because it should die before too much danger happens. Ten King's Retribution is the one part of the the mid-boss which I do sort of anticipate sometimes getting the bomb on, because sometimes this attack is pretty mean to you. It actually wasn't too bad there. Hopefully it will keep up and I won't get my... Wow, I actually got a death bomb off on bullet time. That's amazing. That's really hard to do. Whatever. That means I'm gonna have to survive the last part of this stage now. Oh man. This is not impossible, but it takes one very precise movement right there. One very quick precise movement to make sure that you dodge it, and that's it. Okay, so that was alright as a stage. Shame I failed the spell card, but it was kind of expected. Now, once again, you want to misdirect Yomu on this first non-spell here, and I'm actually going to get a border up just in case here. The non-spell here is significantly more dangerous than it was before, and you want to try and... Whoops! You want to try and misdirect the second wave too, but try and do it a bit better than I did there. Because if you misdirect the second wave, as you can see, it's actually possible to get through it, so... yeah, but I kind of screwed it up, so whatever. God's Flashing Slash, literally, well, not literally impossible, but I don't know how you're supposed to do it. It's a massively, incredibly advanced read and dodge stuff, which I just can't do. I have no way of being able to get this right anymore, so yeah, that's a pretty normal Flashing Slash actually. Wow, I didn't get full power for this, oh god. That doesn't usually happen. I usually get full power out of this. No, I don't know. Well, fuck, that's kind of lame. This is, I mean, you can micro stream this even better than I'm doing at the moment, but I just prefer to sort of micro this one in this way, because I tend to find it's a bit safer than just sort of tapping marginally. Oh, Worldly Attachment. Very, very weird spell card that sometimes works and other times doesn't. It's kind of akin to what Marissa does in Asteroid Belt in the next game. It's a, bullets coming from the side at differing speeds, and you've got to stream across at points because Yomu's going to fire some stuff at you, and, she gathers bullets and then aims them at you, and all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, Eternal Truth. This is probably the easiest spell card of the fight, usually, because it's basically streaming with a decent amount of time between the streams, and yeah. Do note that the red bullets are fired and aimed at you quite late though, so take that into account, and try not to stay rock bottom, of the screen stuff here. Because, yeah, don't take too long with it either, because it gets quite dense if you do. And then the last attack, which I'm hopefully going to get a border up for here, Components of Kenpaku, is a dangerous attack. Try... oh, wow, that was bad. Bullet time sort of screwed up my movement there a lot. Try to force your way through the bullet waves, and usually it's okay, but I just got a little bit panicked there, I guess. Can I negate some of this one? I can negate a tiny bit of this. Yes, okay. Yeah, sometimes I do well at this attack, other times I just fail completely. But the idea is you really want to force your way through the spaces and try and not get caught down the bottom of the screen. Because that happens otherwise, and that... I needed that bomb, Yomu! Oh, god damn you, now I'm going to be screwed for this, because this startup is literally impossible. So, man, that sucks. Whatever, it's fine. Stage 6, I have 6 lives going into it. I'm gonna get 1 more during the stage itself, so I'm alright. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have nearly enough cherry to get a border for this though. This I have never cleared with Marisa A. I am under the impression that it is literally impossible to clear this with Marisa A. That is my sort of feeling off of it, that it is literally impossible to capture that with Marisa A. I know it's not strictly, but I have no idea how you're supposed to do it, so it's always a death if I don't have any bombs. And I usually don't have any bombs because Yomu, you know. Whatever. Yomu's non-spell here is a lot easier, as you can see. Didn't even get very far with it. And the spell card I used to never be able to do, and I've now sort of learned how you do it. It's all about the safe spot. Not really a safe spot, but there's one particular pair of bullets which I went through there. I went in between and I capture it. That's basically it. Read and dodge the first two waves, or safe spot the first two waves if you're good enough, and then just go in between two particular bullets there. There are other ways of doing it, but that's the quickest way, so there we go. Yuyuko! Nice and easy stage 6 boss, actually. That attack, this attack here is actually sort of aimed at you, somehow. It's a really weird form of aiming, but if you go to the left-hand, or right-hand side like I did there, you can get away with it, and it's really nice. What else is there to say? That's what it does. Yuyuko drops cherry instead of star items after every attack, so you can get lots of borders during this fight, and that's maybe one of the reasons why it's easier, but not the only one. This attack is not usually too hard, although I nearly got killed by it there. You've got to make sure that you're not going to be dodging more than one wave at a time, and usually the gaps in the waves are good enough that you can just go into a corner and dodge it until it runs out. So yeah, that's not a hard attack. But it does catch you if you're not careful, and it used to catch me all the time because I'm dumb. Whatever. For this non-spell here, I like to do it this way because then I get a bit more bullet time on Yuyuko at the start, because although you can hit the fan for about half damage, it's a bit tricky to, you know, get it in one stream if you don't do this. Whereas now it's going to be a really easy thing. I don't have to restream it at all at this point, and it's trivial. So that's why I do that. Mortality, Demon World. This is probably my favourite spell card from the fight. Even though I don't always capture it, it's still one of my favourites. There is a set of bubbles where there's a distinct gap in between firing, which is the ones that you've got to restream it in. It's a bit tricky maybe to understand at first, but yeah, too bad. I should have moved a bit further across. Oh well. I hate this non-spell. This non-spell can go die in a fire. It's kind of impossible for me to stay central in this one. The idea is that, like I did in Hard, you can go to a side and then, you know, it's all fine. However, in Lunatic, the bullets, as you can see, will actually start chasing you into the corner, and there's some really weird form of aiming in this. I have no idea how it works, and it's just sort of actually impossible to me. As you can see, I burned 2 bombs on this attack. It's just so dumb. Whatever. Butterfly Delusion, not the hardest attack ever, but again, I'm still sort of a bit bad at it. The idea is that... oh, not that. Wow, how did I get hit by that? That was terrible! I shouldn't get hit by that. Oh well, whatever. The idea is to sort of lure the laser butterfly thing in a vague form of triangle so you can get some shooting time on Yuyuko over there. And usually it's a bit better than that, but oh well, I got caught by something really random, so whatever. Easy non-spell is easy, the blue stuff is aimed at you, the cyan stuff is aimed away. I said this last time, there's one more wave of butterflies this time, but that really doesn't make it any harder because they're still in the same static pattern thing, so what the hell was Zoom thinking when he made this? I have no idea. Let's wait until this border runs out though, so that I can get more cherry on the next attack. Yes, there we go, so now I've got that there. Repository thing. There are clear safe spots which you go between, and it's easy, but I still die to it because I'm dumb. Basically, just go where the safe spots are. All of the massive stream of butterflies there are aimed at you, so you can use that to your advantage. Try and move slowly enough that you don't have to go through a wave there, though, because it can be a little bit tricky to do. And so, yeah, that's sort of what I'm doing at the moment, is that I'm trying to move slowly enough that I don't have to restream again and go through the butterflies like I used to, and it works. It's a good card to get a lot of greys on, so that you can get a lot more spell card bonus, because spell card bonus actually can be increased in this game by getting greys, so yeah. Anyway, final attack. It's some sort of streaming thing again. I tend to find this one a bit more doable on Lunatic for some reason. But really, the butterflies are all aimed as soon as they are fired, and they're fired in 2 distinct sets. So what you want to do is you want to restream it every 2 sets or so. Every 4 groups of butterflies that are fired out, so every 2 pairs. But bubbles are fired out as well. They are fired out in a static way as far as I am aware. So, oops, I got myself walled because somehow I managed to not dodge that. I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't make too much of a difference in the end. The spell card is still pretty much as I described, and I am utterly failing because that's there. Right, so 5 lives, 2 bombs. I don't think there's any chance of me not clearing the game anymore. However, Resurrection Butterfly, I can't clear it. I can technically clear it, I know how to do it, but it's too hard for me. The problem compared to before is that there are now 2 pairs of red butterflies going through this attack, and the second pair per ring is at a roughly 15-degree angle from the first pair. And I don't know why stupid stuff like that always happens, but it does, and it really annoys me because it shouldn't happen. But somehow, somewhere in this card, I always get clipped, and yeah, I got trapped there. Thankfully, Marissa's bomb is amazing, and it quite often, well, I mean, Marissa's focus bomb is quite amazing and long-lasting stuff, so you can clear a wave with that, which is quite nice. And then we've got just a couple more left. You've got to deal with 9 waves of this thing, and that did not hit me. See, this is exactly what I mean. Like, that I know for a fact did not hit me where I was, and that really, really sucks. But whatever. We still cleared the game with 3 lives left, even though I failed 3 times at freaking thing there. I said I wasn't going to get the 1200 point life, and I didn't get the 1200 point life, so there we go. Oh, ending stuff. Can I just skip through the text of this? I think I can just control skip the text here. If I can't, then yeah, I can. Right, so yeah, there's not really any time to read this, I guess, so ending stuff. So that's Perfect Cherry Blossom on Lunatic. I should have ended with more lives than I did. I mean, I should have really only died once at Resurrection there. That would have ended with 4 lives, and it would have looked a lot nicer. But whatever. 3 lives left at the end of a game in Touhou is still pretty damn good, I've got to say. And considering some of the lack of bombing on a lot of those lives, like, I bombed a fair bit more than I normally would, actually, in this game, because I'm confident in this game that I can clear most of the stuff. So, I don't expect to have to bomb as much. But, hey, that's a thing, right? That if you're confident, you can clear a lot of stuff in these games. But if you're not confident, well, bomb like a madman and just clear the game. It's the intelligent thing to do, like everybody else would do it anyway, so yes. What else is there to say? Well, how did the run go as a whole, in opinion-wise? Let's see, Stage 1 was really good, obviously, because it's Stage 1. Stage 2 was amazing, actually. I captured every card from Chen, that rarely happens. Stage 3 went about as I expected. Stage 4 was a complete shambles. I'm usually way better at that, as you can appreciate from the channel update. Especially the Prismriver fight. Okay, I captured the first non-spell, which was really nice, but the Prismriver fight as a whole went shockingly bad. Failing both of the last 2 spell cards, and one of them being a death, is terrible. Stage 5 went around about as I expected, a bit disappointing against components of Kompaku, but other than that it was okay. And the Yuyuko fight was pretty poor, I've got to say. I didn't capture the Deadly Dance or Mortality. I failed Delusional Butterflies somehow, and then I failed the last card as well. When I know I can do it, I just sort of got myself trapped. But beyond that, I would say that's a fairly respectable result, and it was still my high score, somehow. So yeah, that was alright. Only 17 spells captured though, I should have captured at least 20. I think the count in this game though is around about 28, so that's not terrible. I mean, what? I failed 2 from Alice, I failed 2 from... I've actually failed... Yeah, it's maybe it's a bit more than that, I don't know. No, I failed 2 from Alice, I failed 2 from the Prismrivers, I failed 3 from Yomu, because of the mid-boss card, and I failed 4 from Yuyuko. So that's 11 failed. Yeah, it is 28 cards, exactly. Wow. 11 cards failed, I still captured more than I failed, I still bombed almost not as much, whatever. 9 deaths and 15 bombs used is a pretty terrible record actually, because that should have been 20 bombs. If it was using all the resources I had, it should have been 20, but it wasn't, because I suck. Whatever. Don't need to save that replay, and that was Perfect Cherry Blossom. I basically don't necessarily have to play this game anymore, although maybe I will at some point because I love this game to death in terms of playing it. It's got the best mechanics of any of the games to me, I think. And yeah, that's that. So yeah, this has been Gamer playing Touhou 7, Perfect Cherry Blossom. Totally not playing the games in order anymore. Not that I was going to play them in order anyway, but that's one of the games I needed to LP on Lunacy done, so join us next time for something else, I guess. I don't know, you can join me if you want, I'm not going to force you, but it would be nice if you did. Just saying.